There we go. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm going to say a quick welcome. Today, we're diving into a powerful idea, which is purpose that powers performance. This isn't just feel good fluff, it's backed by data, brain science, and real human stories. And by the end of this session, you'll have the tools to reconnect with your own purpose as well as help others do the same. Let me get this up on multiple channels. There we go. It should be working. I ask you a question. Just let me see if I could start with a quick metaphor. How many of you have ever seen ducks or geese flying in the flying V formation, where it looks like a V as they're flying? If you've ever noticed, what you should understand about that is that increases their flight range by 71% compared to flying alone. 71% increase in flight performance flying in the flying V compared to flying alone. Why? Each bird creates lift for the one behind it. And when one gets tired and falls out, it immediately feels the drag. So, my belief is humans are somewhat the same. And what I mean by that is we try to fly solo and it often drains us. I don't know if you've ever had the thought process of if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I have to figure it out. The whole world's on my shoulders. We try to fly solo and we just feel exhausted. And whether that's at work, parenting, building a business, working out, I mean, so often we find out when we collaborate, we create a cleared, shared purpose and our performance soars. And so let's talk about this real quick. If we talk about the science around this concept, 90% of people say they'd take less money to do more meaningful work. Think of that. 90% of people surveyed said they'd be willing to take less money for doing work that's more meaningful. I'm going to watch the chat box real quick in the lives. I have a bunch of them up over here. How many of you be willing to take a little bit of a pay cut if you did something that felt more meaningful to you every day? Such a fascinating topic to think about. According to the research, 90% of people said they'd do it. During the pandemic, those with purpose at work reported 5 times higher well being and 4 times higher engagement. So even when the whole world around us feels like it's melting down in some way, people who had that sense of purpose were 5 times higher well being, 4 times higher in engagement. And 70% of people, when they did this research, found that or says that their job, what they do for work, defines their purpose of who they feel they are. This is interesting. So if you've ever felt unmotivated, disconnected, it might not be a discipline and motivation problem. It might be a purpose problem or a lack of purpose problem. And this is an interesting concept. So I want to introduce you to something we use at Performance Coach University. This is called the purpose triangle. And I'll throw it up on the screen. There's 3 key pieces of this. Let me see. Is that? No, is that one? Hold on. I'm trying to get this up on the screen. I might not be able to draw it for you. For some reason, this is plugged in. Oh, my app is uploading or updating. 1 second. So, purpose triangle, there's 3 main parts to this. I'll explain them in a second as soon as my app is done updating itself so I can doodle a little bit, but I'll explain it real quick and then I'll draw it for you. Number 1, the first point of the triangle is collaboration. Collaboration is on the first side of the triangle. What that means is when people work together towards a shared goal that they couldn't achieve on their own. Here we go. Now let me see if this will pop up on the screen. There we are. Whoop. 1 second. There we go. Let me zoom in, clear this up. That was from a different training I did. There we go. So let's look at it like this. Where's my cool marker? So we have a triangle. Boop. And on the first side of the triangle, if you're taking notes, just write collaboration. Collaboration. When people work together towards a shared goal, and you could say it this way, when two people come together to accomplish something that would not have been possible on their own. Quick question. Is that backwards on your screen? I might have a mirrored effect coming on. So one part of that is collaboration. The second piece, so two people coming together to accomplish something that was impossible for either one to achieve on their own. Two people coming together to accomplish something that would be impossible for either one to accomplish on their own. There's collaboration. The second piece of the triangle is called job crafting. When someone redesigns their role to better fit who they are. So you redefine what it is you're doing in work to actually align with your values so that what you do every day is a reflection of who you are. My friend Naval said, find something to you that feels like play, but to observably everybody else who observes, it looks like work. Job crafting. Can you design the way you work, what you do, that it's so in alignment with who you are that to you it feels like play and everyone else, observably, it seems like work? That's number two. So one is collaboration. Number two is job crafting. Number three is prosocial motivation. When we're driven by a desire to serve a cause bigger than ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with working hard to go get all the things you want to get and do all the things you want to do. One of my favorite people, at least the quote, is Jim Carrey, the actor. He said, I wish everybody could get rich and famous to realize it ain't it. Now, people like to comment, easy for him to say, he's got $100 billion or million or whatever he's got. But there's a truth to it. I meet lots of people and I have the opportunity to work with people who've achieved every level of success you could imagine, billions, trillions, all this stuff. And what's interesting is, sure, going from barely getting by to making enough, meaning enough to live the life you want to live, that's a massive jump. It feels amazing. But then there's a point, according to research, where peak happiness is. And peak happiness is enough cash flow through investments or work to meet the lifestyle you want to live and a little bit more. That's where peak happiness exists in human beings, according to a research study in the UK. And so prosocial motivation. Can you get to the point where you're making enough for your lifestyle and a little bit more, and then find something bigger than yourself to do it for, whether it's your family, your community, something you believe in, a cause, something that just wakes you up and inspires you to want to go after it each day. Now, each point represents a powerful way to create meaning at work and light up intrinsic motivation. If you're not familiar with the word, intrinsic motivation is when internally you are inspired and excited to do what you want to do. It's when you enjoy the process of it each day. Extrinsic motivation is when you're doing it for a trophy. You're doing it for an attaboy or attagirl. You're doing it for a good job. You're doing it to prove someone else right or wrong. So intrinsic motivation, you're doing it for your own internal reasons and you're inspired by the process of it. And so collaboration, job crafting, prosocial motivation, all these things ignite intrinsic motivation, which means you'll stick with it longer. So let's start with collaboration. According to Slack and McKinsey, most of us work in a matrixed environment, multiple teams, multiple goals, lots of stuff going on. The one thing that makes it all work is some sort of shared purpose. In fact, teams that share clear goals are more likely to hit milestones, report higher morale, and experience lower turnover. Try this. Ask your team, what's something we could accomplish together that none of us could do by ourselves? It's an easy way to discover what's the thing that's bringing you together. We call it your collaboration sweet spot. What's something we could accomplish together that none of us could accomplish by ourselves? That's what we're looking for. Can you come together with groups of people and accomplish something that would have been impossible on your own? You're creating a shared collaborative purpose in that moment. Number two, job crafting. This is where people proactively adjust their tasks, relationships, or mindset about their work and realign it with who they really are. So there's three types of crafting here. Task crafting. Can you adjust what you're doing each and every day? Can you adjust what you're doing to align more in your personal values? More of what's most important to you is what you're focused on each day. Relational crafting. Can you change who you do it with? This is important. How many of you have a who in your life that when you do something with them, it doesn't matter what you do, it's painful? You got someone that, my gosh, I mean, we can go to Disneyland and it's going to be the longest day on earth. Or you have someone else, you could do anything with them. I mean, my gosh, you could go to the DMV and sit there all day and have the time of your life because it's who you're with, not what you're doing. So could you relational at craft? Could you pick people to do it with that makes time fly by, that makes you feel alive, that you have fun doing it together? And the third is cognitive crafting. Can you change how you think about it? This is the I don't have to work, I get to work. This isn't a punishment. This is an opportunity. I'm not slaving through the day. I'm excited for the opportunity. Can you adjust your thinking? Can you get rid of any stinking thinking and replace it with something that actually excites you and brings you to life? A 2013 study found that job crafting increases employee engagement, job satisfaction, and overall well-being. Think of that. Employee engagement, job satisfaction, and the overall well-being of the human in just 2 months. So if you adjust the task, adjust the people, adjust the cognition of how you think about it, it increases your overall well-being in your life in just 2 months. Quick exercise. Ask yourself, what's one task you could change this week to make work feel more aligned with your strengths and interests? What's something you could adjust this week to make your work feel more aligned with your strengths or interests, getting aligned with your core values? You first have to identify what's most important to you in life and then align your work with it. Final piece, prosocial motivation. Last leg of the triangle, purpose beyond just yourself. The prosocial motivation is the desire to help others. Research shows it boosts creativity, organizational commitment, and even mental resilience. It's amazing. One study, people with high prosocial motivation and strong managerial support showed an increased correlation with increased support, showed higher organizational citizenship behavior, meaning behave better as a person within the organization, and they're more creative in problem solving. But here's the key. Helping others isn't just about feeling good for the world. It's actually good for your brain physically. It's good for your brain. It lights up the reward centers and gives you what psychologists call the helper's high. So it literally lights up the part of your brain that feels good, releases oxytocin into your body, makes you feel physically better. It's amazing. And so here's some of the tension that exists, though. How many of you realized we live in a world these days that promotes individualism? Your goals, your dreams, your success, your vision, you. But many of our deepest needs, the things that make us feel most alive, most loved, most cared for, most connected, is belonging, meaning, connection. These are all filled through being part of something bigger than oneself. A global study of 24,000 people found individualistic cultures, they have more job control, which lowers turnover, but collectivist cultures, if they're included in the process more, their job satisfaction goes way up. And so here, there's no perfect formula, but understanding the balance between me and we helps us lead more purpose-driven teams and purpose-driven lives. We got to think this through. So let's take 90 seconds to reflect. Grab a notebook, your phone, whatever, jot this down. Number one, where in work do you feel the most aligned with your purpose? Simple question. Where do you feel the most aligned with your purpose? Two, where do you feel the most disconnected or drag like a sailboat where it feels like you got an anchor in the sand behind you? You're trying to go forward, but you just feel like, ugh. Number 3, what point of the triangle are you strong in? Are you strong with collaboration? Are you strong with job crafting? Are you strong with prosocial motivation? Which one are you really good at? And number 4, which one could you get better at? Which one could you grow in? Which one could you dial in just a little bit more this week? Now, I'll tell you this, purpose is not a a grand mountaintop you reach one day. It's a compass. It's a way of choosing how to show up, what to care about, where to contribute. Motivation without meaning is like rowing with one oar, lots of motion, but you just keep going in circles. You don't need massive reinvention of self. Sometimes all it takes is to realign your work with your values or connect your effort with something much bigger than just yourself. If you want to go deeper in this topic, if this is interesting to you, we've got a free training it's focused on grit and resilience. It dives into the science of what drives people to keep going and how to help yourself, your clients, or your team stay motivated when things get tough. All you got to do is send me a direct message with the word grit, and I'll send you immediate access to the first module for free. And if you're a coach or you're a leader and you want access to more tools like the purpose triangle, stuff like that, check out Performance Coach University. We certify top tier coaches and equip you with models, methods, and mindsets to create real transformation. You'll learn how to coach with science-backed tools and thriving practice to make a real impact. Just head to performancecoachuniversity.com or shoot me a message and we'll point you in the right direction. So, like always, thank you for being here. Remember, you don't have to do it alone. At sometimes, the purpose you've been searching for is hiding in the people you're meant to serve. And so if you're interested in this, if it's useful, come and check us out. Come and work with us. We'd love to have you. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Tag someone who needs to hear this. I'd appreciate it.